You are a very childish man.
And you are a very womanly child.
Lady, I don't know who you are for sure, but I suspect you're at the heart of everything. See what you can make of this stuff.
Is that everything?
Most of it. You'll see the rest when I'm good and ready.
You're making a mistake.
I want it that way. Look at this.
It's a report from Private Eye. Channing hired him?
Yeah. The PI thinks he had to be a close friend of the Capwell family. Came and went without much difficulty. Channing must have had his suspicions.
Well, that fits with the last entry in the journal. Said someone came to the same conclusion that Channing did. It was a horrible conclusion, and Channing was afraid. Maybe the robber is that someone.
If we're lucky, we'll find out before we end up at a marble slab. Look, what do you think of this?
I think it's a piece of trash. Alcadunes, California, never heard of the place.
Maybe we ought to take a little trip there to find out something.
I got better things to do. It's a waste of time. Yucca Dunes Motel, Yucca Dunes, California. Fleabag Motel. It's a waste of time.
Look, if it's so important, why did Channing take it and hide it?
Who knows? Channing Capwell never went to a place like this in his life. I mean, maybe somebody gave it to him and he held on to it because it reminded him of something. The rich can be very eccentric, you know. Get rid of it, throw it out.
It stays.
Look, this is what we gotta find out, who that somebody was, that friend of the family.
I'll take that. Give me that.
You make me crazy. I don't know why I bother with you.
I'll tell you why. Because your neck is on the line too, buddy.
Joe, you gotta start taking it easy.
Cruz?
Cruz! I'll come back later.
No, wait. Give me a minute.
Dad's lived pretty much the way he's wanted to. The family's just sort of had to fit in around him. He rules firmly, with velvet-covered brass knuckles.
Mason will do anything to keep his father from hearing that little recording.
Peter, be careful. I'd hate to see anything backfire.
Don't worry, it won't. I'll get it. Hello?
Hi, Peter. It's me.
Kelly! It's so good to hear from you.
Oh, you're answering your own phone now, are you?
Well, I was the closest one to it. Where are you calling from?
Well, listen, I'm coming home later on today.
That's great. And ever since I talked to you last night about this decision you said you'd made, I've been worried.
I didn't want you to worry, Peter.
What's it all about?
It has to do with Joe, but listen, I'll tell you all about it when I get home.
Oh, you won't tell me where you are, and you won't tell me what decision you've made. Am I supposed to feel reassured and happy?
Peter, I just don't want to go into it over the phone. Look, you'll understand when I explain. We'll talk as soon as I get back, okay? I promise. Bye.
Kelly! Kelly, wait!
better get going.
I gotta wait for Kelly to call.
Oh.
Don't worry, I promise we won't be late.
Okay. You excited for today?
First day of school? You kidding?
No?
You think I want to share you with all the other guys in town?
You're not going to share me.
I figure you're going to get really popular, going to run out of time, and pretty soon I'll be a forgotten man.
You are so silly.
I don't want to lose you.
You're not going to lose me. Besides, where could I find a better guy than you?
That's true.
Besides, I wouldn't want to be anybody else's girl. Oh, that's Kelly? Hello?
Hi, Lincoln. It's Kelly. Is Ted there?
Yes, he's been waiting for you. Just that.
Hi, Kel.
Hi, Ted.
Listen, I just want to apologize about Peter getting on the phone last night. I had no idea he was going to do that.
I know. It made me mad, too. But look, don't worry about it. I talked to him a little while ago.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I'm coming home today, and I want to talk to Peter and you and the whole family.
Oh, yeah? Sounds serious.
Yeah, it is. It's a major decision.
About?
I don't want to tell you right now.
Well, one question. It isn't about Joe Perkins, is it?
Why?
Well, because we've all been worrying about if you've been seeing him or not.
Look, I'm not going to tell you over the phone, okay?
Have you been seeing him?
Look, Ted, just plan to come home after school, and we'll talk about it then, all right? Bye.
Bye.
I was just leaving.
Would you give these to Cruz, please?
Okay. No, wait. Santana, you, got the letters?
Yes. I suppose I owe you a thanks.
What for?
Well, you didn't have to give the letters back to me.
They're yours.
Well, thanks. But I'll never forgive you for breaking into Channing's room. It was his private place.
I'm not asking you to. Look, Santana, I'm just glad to be able to have the chance to talk to you.
Why? We don't have anything to say to each other. As far as I'm concerned, you'll always be Channing's killer.
Santana, I hope you change your mind about that someday. But until then, look, people won't find out about your personal life from me. In case you're worried about me knowing about you and Channing having a kid.
Well, I'm glad about that, because it's nobody's business. I can't even believe I'm standing in the same room talking to you.
Santana, I know you may not believe this, but I think I know what you've gone through.
You'll never know. You know, when you got out of jail, I wanted nothing more than to see you dead. I even went so far as to go to the bus station with a loaded gun in my purse. The only thought that was going through my head was about Channing. That he was dead. And here you were. You could breathe the air, feel the sun.
If you had a gun now?
It's over now. At least the part about wanting to see you dead is. I wouldn't shoot you.
Santana, you could help me.
I'll never help you, Joe. You know, every time I look at your face, it reminds me of that same pain. You would do everybody in Santa Barbara a big favor if you just left and moved somewhere else.
Sorry, Santana. I've got unfinished business, and somebody out there knows it.
The part of C.C. Capwell is now being played by Paul Burke.
Wonderful. Well, we were certainly overdue getting that company under our umbrella. Yes, now we can move forward on the Luxembourg merger. Congratulations, you handled it well. Goodbye.
Would you look at this for me?
Santana, you know what it feels like to get something you've waited a long time to get?
I know exactly how it feels.
Well, I have been waiting 2 years for that acquisition.
And now?
And now I feel like a racehorse that's been reined in and finally let loose to win.
You look so happy. It makes me feel good, too.
I think we should celebrate. This is a special occasion.
Absolutely. But I would like you to look at this. It's for your room.
I will. I promise. But first, I want to get your advice on something.
Well,
Sit down and give this some serious thought. For years now, I've been playing with the idea of turning the south wing of the Capitol Hotel into a little San Simeon. What do you think?
Well, I think it sounds wonderful, but I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Oh, precious antiques, Like the Hearst Castle, you know, the baronial look.
Oh, that would be fabulous. You know, I've always meant to go there.
You've never been to the Hearst Castle?
No?
Well, I sit before you, the perfect guide. I spent a lot of time there as a child. We know the Hearsts.
Really?
Yes, and someday I'm going to bring you there.
Well, that sounds exciting.
Meanwhile, what about this afternoon? I don't feel like going back to the office. And I have a better idea if you're free the rest of the day.
Well, I'm working with a very important client.
Oh?
A Mr. C.C. Capwell.
Well, I know that client very well. You just leave him to me. You know what I want to do?
What?
I want to take you for a spin.
A ride? I'd love it.
A plane ride. It's marvelous relaxation.
Oh, Cece, you're tempting me. You know, I don't feel that I'm working hard enough, and we're never going to get your room done.
I know, but it's too nice a day to stay indoors. And besides, how often do I celebrate a new company?
You're right.
And I promise you, you'll see Santa Bárbara like you've never seen it before.
Well, I'm all yours, Mr. Capwell.
Lincoln? Oh, I guess she's gone to school.
Mother here?
No. She usually doesn't come out of her room till 11.
And we're all alone here?
Yes.
Hey. Do you remember when we were first married? When we used to rush home from public places just so we could come back and do all kinds of wonderful things?
Yes, I remember that. I think about it a lot when you're away on your trips.
You do, huh? You miss me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah? You hate it when I'm away?
I hate it at night, but I'm grateful for it during the day.
I think your zipper's stuck here.
Break it.
Oh.
Oh!
Oh, damn. Oh. Hang on.
Okay.
Hello, Mike. What are you doing here?
I need to talk to you, Lionel.
Do attorneys make house calls these days?
Well, they do when they can't find their clients anyplace else. Now, may I come in, or shall we deal al fresco, huh?
Oh, sure, Mike. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Good morning, Augusta.
Well, you're out and about very early.
Well, I hope you haven't forgotten you have an auction to attend to this afternoon. I want to work out some details with Lionel.
Auction of what? Lionel, what's he talking
You
about?
didn't tell Augusta, Lionel?
Tell a woman about my business? Heck no. Women ought to be in a bedroom or a kitchen or running in between. Everybody knows that.
Will you defend me in court when I've stabbed him? Is this the beachfront property we're talking about?
That's right. Today's the day.
I don't understand. We're buying back property we already own?
Is there any coffee in the kitchen? I think I'll have a cup while the two of you work this out.
Oh, no, Mike. Sit down here. Augusta will get you a cup of coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
I will not. I want to hear about our beachfront acreage.
Okay. Sit down. Augusta, because of certain oversights, the original deed was not in order, to say nothing of the fact that some idiot, probably my father, neglected to see that the signatures were notarized. And as a result, the property doesn't belong to us anymore. It belongs to the Cazzoni Foundation.
Mr. Cazzoni is dead.
Yeah, I know, but his foundation is very much alive, and they're about to have an auction today, and the proceeds from which will go to a private charity.
No, I don't believe it.
Oh, you don't? Oh, well, swell. Why don't you just go out to the pool, eat your bonbons, play with your dog, and I will take care of this wart on our lives.
Mason Capwell is behind it, Augusta.
Yeah, Mason Capwell, we have to thank. See, he found a loophole in the law, and he arranged for this private auction, which will take place, and it'll just be the Capwells and us bidding for this, and they'll only accept cash and payment, right?
This is insane. 50 acres of beachfront property at today's prices, and we're being forced to buy back at auction property we already own?
Unfortunately, you don't own it legally, Ernest. If you did, none of this nonsense would be necessary.
What if he outbids us?
Well, he's not going to do that. Never fear, my truffle.
How can he help outbid us with Capwell money behind him?
Well, we have enough money to pay for this, huh?
We do, are you sure?
Yes. Now, we may have seen better days, we Lockridges, but I can assure you we are not destitute. Now, I can bid as high as any bid that Mason's going to make on that property. We're not going to lose it, so relax.
before the auction starts this afternoon, I thought I'd better bring this by to you.
A letter of credit?
Well, it's a certification of my line of credit. I think it should be sufficient to outbid anything the Lockridges can come up with. You can check it over yourself now before the auction starts and satisfy yourself that it's legitimate.
I don't doubt its legitimacy, Mason. But are you authorizing me with this letter to bid on your behalf?
No, I want to be here to bid myself.
I see. Well, I'll make a pro forma call, but I'm sure it'll be all right. I take it from this that you're fairly determined to acquire the land.
Oh, not fairly determined, Arch. I'm absolutely, irrevocably determined. By the end of the day, my family's going to own that property.
You are not listening. This is a crisis.
Everything's a crisis with you. If you want something, it's a crisis till you get it.
This is serious, and you are not paying attention.
I'm listening to you, Augusta. So there's going to be an auction of some of the famed Lockridge holdings, and you might lose it. Well, all good things come to an end, and you've got plenty of other holdings. And maybe Lyle won't lose it anyway.
I have to find out what Mason is going to bid on that property.
How should I know? What makes you think Mason confides in me?
You've been known to look through a few keyholes, Peter.
I see. So you want favors even while you insult a man.
I hoped you'd do it out of friendship. I'd hate to remind you of certain activities before you cooperate, and you know how grateful I can be.
Yes, I'm very familiar with your gratitude, Augusta. And would you please excuse me? I have a lot of work to do.
Peter! I hold you responsible. I warn you, I can be a good friend or, as you know, a very dangerous enemy.
Hold me responsible. You credit me with more power than I have, dear.
You led Mason to the deed for the beach property.
I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
I'm humbling myself. I beg you, try and remember if Mason said anything about bidding on the property.
I can't tell you.
Can't or won't?
Can't and wouldn't if I could.
Have you talked to Lionel?
Any number of times.
Oh, no. I mean recently, in the last few days.
No, why?
Have you told him about our being intimate?
Well, I don't think I'm proud enough of it to go bragging to your husband about it.
Well, he seemed to know everything about the hotel and the presidential suite, much of what I said to you. I'm beginning to think I can't trust you, Peter.
Augusta, I have not talked to Lionel about you. I don't think Lionel would ever be my confidant of choice. Why don't you go check with some of your other trusted and loyal friends? It wasn't me. I think we've talked enough about this. Would you please excuse me? I've got more important things to worry about, like Kelly showing up this afternoon.
I wonder how she'd feel about our little fling. Still can't recall anything Mason said about the property.
Nothing.
Peter, someday you may want a favor. Don't come to me.
You mean you spent the whole summer in Hollywood?
Well, most of it. I mean, it was really fun. We went to Europe. Actually, I'm getting bored of Europe. Mommy loves museums. She can stand 12 hours in front of one painting. Multiply that times 1 million paintings. Hollywood was a bit closer, and we didn't get to hit up all the museums.
You both were there too, weren't you?
Well, I was only there part-time. But Lakin got to be in a movie.
Oh, wow.
I was only an extra.
Yeah, but she had 2 days' work.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't even be able to see me. I was stuck way in the back somewhere. Where do you suppose the teacher is?
Oh, who is the teacher anyway?
Mr. Bottoms.
Bottoms.
Well, what's the matter, Theodore?
Well, all I can say is watch out.
How come?
I had him for Latin. Total gag.
Tough?
Yeah, tougher than tough.
Why?
Well, he loves to throw kids out of school. I mean, that's his favorite thing to do in the world. I mean, he had me suspended once.
Oh, I remember. That's right. Well, I'll just sit in the front row and smile at him a lot. That usually helps.
Now with old man Bottoms. And he thinks he's General Patton or somebody. He believes in work and punishment. That's it. Work and punishment.
Stop that. Over-affection. Save it for the balcony of movie houses, please. All of you pay attention, and let's get one thing straight right at the start.
We do not allow over-affection on this campus. Now, my friends, let's go into your senior problems class and get some work done. Come on, come on, come on.
Merci. Et merci de m'avoir appelé pour me dire qu'il était ici. À votre service, Madame Lockridge.
Oh, you've got a very good appetite.
Well, hello, Augusta.
May I sit down?
Sure, you want something to eat?
Ah, no, thank you. I had enough nourishment for one day.
You come to a restaurant and you don't want to eat?
Well, actually, I came to see you.
How'd you know I was here?
I'm omniscient. I just wanted you to know that I still believe in you.
Well, thank you.
I hope you still trust me.
Well, of course I do, Augusta. Hey, did Lionel give you a hard time about me working over there?
Ah, no, Lionel's no problem. Actually, I was really very concerned about you. How are you doing?
What do you mean, in general, or?
Oh, I meant about clearing your name.
Well, I tell you, I'm getting a lot closer to finding the killer.
Are you? What'd you find out? Please tell me.
Sorry, I can't. But listen, I will tell you this. The police think they may have found those two guys that beat up on me and tried to kill me when I first got to Santa Bárbara.
What? You mean they actually arrested someone?
Yeah, they're pretty sure they're the guys. What they're trying to do now is find out who hired them.
Oh, my God.
What's wrong? You don't think that's good news?
Yes, I was just surprised. I'm glad I underlined it.
Yeah, when we find out who paid them to get me, I think maybe that's going to give us more information about who was involved with Channing's murder.
Well, I wouldn't put too much hope on that. I mean, the two may not be very closely related.
No, I think they are.
Well, I hope they are for your sake. I didn't know if you knew this, but Kelly's due back in town.
She is?
Well, Peter's very upset. Obviously, there's something going on. I don't know. I just thought you ought to know.
Lionel, I want to talk to you about this.
What about it, Mother?
This fell off the wall last night during one of your nocturnal activities.
Oh, I'll take care of it.
Well, I know what the last days of Pompeii must have been like.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing with my rubies?
Well, I think I have a potential buyer for them, Mother.
Lionel, no. You're not running up debts again and think you can pay them off with my rubies?
No, certainly not.
If you're about to embark on one of your spending sprees again, I won't stand for it. I'll take action.
Now, what kind of action are you going to take? I mean, I am your firstborn, your beloved.
Now, don't try and charm me. It won't work. I still hold all the stock, you know. I can vote you out any time I wish.
Yeah, but you're not going to do that. You have too much compassion and love for that.
Oh, I have infinite compassion and no patience with your behavior.
My, don't you look nice. How did you know I was coming by?
Well, thank you. I didn't. I have an engagement this afternoon.
Well, I'm going to ask you to break it for me. I want you to accompany me to a very special event. Private auction where I'm going to humiliate the Lockridges.
Well, I wish you lots of luck, but I can't go with you. Besides, I have to finish up.
You're kicking me out?
Well, you can sit if you want.
I'd like to know what's so important that you can't break it for a special event with me.
I have an appointment, that's all.
With whom?
You're getting very personal, Mason.
You're getting very evasive, Santana.
Why do you ask?
Why do I ask? I like to know who my competition is.
Well, it's not a competitor of yours. That's all I'm going to say.
Santana, you're making me very angry.
I'm not going to tell you anything else, and that's that. You're making me angry now.
I only become suspicious when people become secretive.
Well, then fine. Be suspicious and stop asking me.
I don't have to ask anymore. I already know who it is.
Well, then why'd you waste your breath?
Because I didn't want to be accused of jumping to conclusions. It's Cruz Castillo, isn't it?
Oh, dear. If I won't tell you who it is, I won't tell you who it isn't either. Come on.
I was beginning to think you weren't going to make it.
Something came up at the office at the last minute.
That's all right. Did you get it?
Right here.
Plug it in.
Oh, he's always wanted to be in the history books. I've often thought privately that it would be amusing if one day historians argued over who was worse, C.C. Capwell or Attila the Hun.
How's that?
That's wonderful. That's manna from heaven.
What do you plan to do with it?
Oh, I think I better make a copy of that tape and take it to the auction this afternoon. I have no idea how it's going to help, but I imagine I'm going to be able to use it somehow.
Mr. Bottoms, I am your new headmaster, and I am teaching this one class, Senior Problems. In time, I hope to learn your names. Since there are only 8 of you, it shouldn't take the whole semester. As you are privileged to be attending Lyman Prep, I trust that each of you will be responsive this semester. I should warn you, I am very strict when students cause trouble. Now, we are standing on the threshold of a new semester, one which will give me a chance to impart to each of you my own philosophy of life, to wit, nothing worthwhile comes easily. I'd like to begin by calling the roll. Now, please answer in a pleasant tone of voice. Michael Adams?
Here.
Cynthia Browning?
Here.
Ted Capwell?
No.
Ted Capwell. Ted. You and I are old friends, aren't we, Ted?
Yes, sir.
Yes. yes, indeed. I know all about Ted. My guess is he shouldn't last 1 week in this class. Now, don't bother to remind me that your father is C.C. Capwell. It was your father who recommended me as headmaster. Now, let's go on here. Come on. Gerald Cosgrove.
Here.
Lakin Lockridge.
Here.
Jade Perkins.
Sir.
Neil Raymond.
Here.
Howard Reiter.
Here.
Well, fine. Well, we're all here. Good. All right. Now, in the senior problems class, we are going to tackle something fairly innovative this semester. A simulated marriage problem. You are going to pair up by drawing lots, become engaged, marry, and have children. You will get jobs. Undoubtedly, some of you will get fired from them. In short, we are going to try our very, very best to simulate things as closely as we possibly can. All the trials and tribulations that beset most marriages. It will prepare you for what lies ahead. All right. Now, naturally, I have the happiest of marriages personally, and I intend to call on that as a model.
Well, then, maybe one of us should pair up with your wife if she's so hot.
There will be no more remarks like that, Mr. Cosgrove. I suggest you save your wit for the locker room. And you might try to gain some wisdom while you are in here. You may be unhappy to know that I have learned your name already. Hmm?
I brought the bank statements you asked for if you want to look them over, Arch.
Thank you. But I spoke to the bank earlier, so there'll be no problem with your bid.
Good.
Why don't you make yourself comfortable? Have some coffee. Tea, if you like.
That's a good idea.
Yes. Oh, yes, he's right here. Just a moment. Mason? To you?
Thanks. Hello?
Can you talk?
Well, I can listen. Did you get some answers to my questions?
Yes, Cruz Castillo went to the airport today, and so did Santana.
I thought as much. Anything else?
That's all you asked me for.
All right. I appreciate it, Veronica. Listen, do you think you could come over here and take notes for me at the auction? Can you get away?
I think I can arrange it.
Just come as soon as you can.
Look, down there. You may not recognize it from the air, but that's President Reagan's ranch.
Really? I'm impressed. You really love flying, don't you?
Enormously. It's a great thrill to control a plane.
I can imagine.
At least it used to be. Lately, the skies have been getting pretty crowded. But it's still beautiful. You know, I think flying gives one a better perspective of things. Santana, look. State Street. Let's go down to the ocean. Oh. Are you all right?
Yes, of course.
I'm glad you came with me today.
I'm glad you invited me.
Well, there he is now.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lockridge.
Mr. Bishop.
Hello, Lionel.
Mason.
You're looking well.
I hope you feel the same way after I've outbid you this afternoon.
I'm afraid there's little chance of that.
Oh, good, you haven't started yet.
Augusta, what the devil are you doing here?
What do you mean, what am I doing here? I came to take part in the auction.
No, you're not. They don't even want you here, and I don't want you around. I'm doing the bidding, and I don't want you nudging and interfering.
I'm not going to be interfering, but I have every right to be here. That property is partly mine, and I want to know what's going to happen to it. Lionel, you cannot exclude me. You can put me out physically, but I'll keep coming back.
Any chance of putting an end to this little domestic squabble? She isn't going to be here, is she?
And why shouldn't she if she wants to be?
It was my understanding that this was to be a private auction.
She is a party at interest here. She has a right to know its final disposition.
All right. Let her stay.
I should think so. Thank you, Lionel.
You're welcome, my dear. Oh, Mr. Bishop, this is my wife, Augusta.
How do you do, Mrs. Lockridge?
How do you do? Are you conducting this auction?
Yes, I am.
Well, I'll sit right here where I won't be in the way.
Lionel, you know, you could save us both a lot of time and money if you'd simply default right now.
That isn't in the cards, Mason. I'm not going to default.
I want it more than you do.
We'll see.
You know, if you hadn't been so stupid in the first place, the Capwells wouldn't even be in a position to buy the property.
Well, if C.C. Capwell hadn't been so stupid as to make love to your mother, Pamela Pepperidge, you wouldn't have been born. Somehow I think that the greater stupidity.
Well, if we're all here, I'll call my stenographer in and we'll get started.
The sooner the better, Mr. Bishop.
Kelly. So good to see you.
Hi, Peter.
I don't know how anxiously I waited for you to come back.
Look, I'm sorry you were worried.
Where have you been?
I just needed some time to think out some things by myself. They were just getting too complicated. I felt like there was all this pressure coming in at me.
I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't contributing to that.
Well, you were. Anyway, I just had to take off.
Okay. And now you're back. You said on the phone that you'd come to a decision, so I take it that means you found a way to solve the problem?
Yeah, I think so. It has to do with Joe.
So you said.
Well, you and Joe both. Actually, I've been thinking a lot about both of you most of the time I've been away.
Thinking what?
For one thing, Peter, I want you to leave Joe alone. Every time you two see each other, there's always some kind of violence. I can't stand it. The fight you had the other night...
Hey, come on, look, I told you that wasn't my fault.
Yeah, and Joe says it was. Look, I don't care who started it. It's just the fact that it happened and it shouldn't have.
Well, I suppose in an ideal world there shouldn't be any kind of violence, but sometimes there is. Listen, is all this leading up to something in particular?
Yes, it is.
And so, as duly constituted, I declare the bidding open on parcel 10657, lots 5 through 55, heretofore commonly known as the Lockridge beachfront property, but in fact and in law belonging to the Cuzzoni Foundation. It is agreed and understood that all proceeds from this auction will go to them for charitable uses. Mr. and Mrs. Lockridge, the first bid is yours. I must request that it be in writing so there's no confusion. Thank you. Please let the record indicate that the first bid made by Mr. Lockridge is for $2 million. You know,
I've got this really sick feeling in my stomach right now. Are you going to tell me that you want to call off the relationship? You want to cancel the engagement?
No, it's nothing like that. But you may want to call it off yourself after I tell you.
Tell me what?
Peter, from now on, if I want to see Joe, I'm going to see him.
What? What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I mean that if I want to talk to Joe, I'm going to. If I want to see him, I will. It means that I'm not going to be bullied by Daddy or Mason or you. Every time I listen, I always give in, and I'm miserable. I can't live like this anymore.
Are you telling me that not seeing Joe makes you miserable?
What makes me miserable is not being allowed to do what my conscience tells me.
Does your conscience tell you that it's right to go out with the guy that killed your brother?
Look, he says he didn't.
And you're starting to believe him, huh?
At least I have questions, Peter. I'm no longer certain he is guilty.
How could you change? You know, it's not a matter of innuendo or circumstantial evidence. You came in and saw Joe over Channing's body with a gun in his hand. And now Joe gets out of prison 5 years later and says, oh, by the way, I didn't do it. I'm not guilty. And you're starting to believe it.
Yeah, well, maybe I am.
You still care about him, don't you?
I just feel I've been unfair.
So where does this leave us?
Look, Peter, I don't want to make any threats. I don't want to spoil what we have. But it will be spoiled if you aren't able to trust me and let me do what I want to do.
Which is to see Joe Perkins.
Yes! The point is, I'm not going to shut him out of my life anymore just to please all of you.
So I'm supposed to share you with Joe, is that it?
Peter, I'm just asking for a little freedom. I'm not going to do anything wrong. If I run into him or if I want to see him, I'm just not going to lie about it. I just hope you can understand and accept that. And if you can't, it's up to you.